TFA, what is up? Hope all of you are doing well. It is week 9. It is a better week than week 8. We have a lot of intriguing games. We have no weather to worry about. We have some studs that are coming back. We do have some that are sitting out. But joining me today on the TFA airwaves, Robby Jeffries. You can find him on Twitter at NFL Robby, and Ryan Williams making his return again from Friday, hitting you with the DFS video, doing the DFS live stream on Thursday. You can find him on Twitter at RyanAlexander_W. How are all you guys doing? What's going on? What are you guys looking forward to this week?
Points being scored this week as opposed to last week. Really looking forward to that.
Man, Robby nailed it on the head, man. We don't got too much weather concerns. I mean, here in the Midwest, you're looking across the board, 60s and 70s weather. So, crazy weather for November football games. Let's just get out there and hope these guys can put up some points for us for sure.
Yeah, I mean, we the chat is already lighting up. We appreciate you guys jumping in. If you're joining us for the first time, please be sure to hit that subscribe button. It really means a lot. We already surpassed the 600 mark, and now, in the words of Bill Belichick, we're on to 700, right? So we appreciate all the help you guys have given us and all the interaction. You guys are talking to each other in the chat. We love seeing, and honestly, it's kind of what we imagined and hoped would happen, is that we would build a community with you guys, and then you guys would start recognizing each other in the chat, and that kind of seems what to be happening. So I just want to rattle off some of these injuries here first, and then we'll jump into your questions. So obviously with the bye weeks this week, Cleveland, Cincy, Philly, and the Rams. Right now, who we have verified that is out, that is going to affect your fantasy lineups: Chris Carson, Carlos Hyde, Kenny Golladay, Matt Breida, Myles Gaskin, and Kenyon Drake. We have some defensive injuries that are going to be helpful if you were worried about any of these matchups. AJ Boye is out for Atlanta. Fowler and Tack McKinley are out for Baltimore. Marlon Humphrey, obviously on the COVID list. They did have 6 guys who were activated this morning. So it looks like Humphrey is going to be the only one, since he was the one that tested positive. Patrick Queen is back, and a couple of their key defensive pieces. Shaq Griffin is out for Seattle. Buffalo is going to be missing Josh Norman and Matt Milano. Minnesota is going to be missing their cornerback. So I don't know who the hell they're going to be playing, but it's wheels up in that game. Dancer and Holton Hill are out. And then Houston is sitting Robby. So, and then some questionable ones we have to keep an eye out: Jacobs, Keenan Allen, Zeke. It looks like he's expected to play. And then Damian Harris. And obviously we have Christian McCaffrey and Michael Thomas coming back as well.
Man, is that it, Cody? I mean, that's wild, bro. That is wild going all through that. I mean, there's so many implications off of what you just said. I mean, it's a fun week. Buckle in, boys. Buckle in.
Yes, sir. No, it's nice seeing MT and McCaffrey coming back with those ones that we have that are out. It's nice to see some of those studs returning to your lineups. And if you're able to weather that storm and you're still sitting pretty, or you're kind of right outside the playoff picture, that's obviously going to be a huge boon for your team. So we're going to kick things off. We got Coop Dog coming in. Good morning, guys. For my receiver options behind Thielen, I have Ridley and Godwin. Don't know how they'll fare with injury. Should I play them or grab somebody off of waivers? The options look like AB, Mike Williams, and Corey Davis. So it looks like Godwin's going to play, correct?
Yeah, I think Godwin is expected. And then I think on the flip side, Ridley is not expected to go. They're going to test him out pregame, but there's some doubt from what I've been reading.
Yeah, I've seen the same thing, Robby. At least as of last night and early this morning too. So, I mean, they have the bye coming up right too, Atlanta next week. So I don't know if they really need Ridley to go, and plus they're not really playing for anything. So probably will sit him out a little bit more. I think you can. It is a later game, but maybe there's a way that you can pick up AB in hopes that, if something happens to Godwin, that you can play either Godwin or AB. I don't know the rest of the roster in order to say enough, Coop, but If Godwin's out there, I feel like you can roll him with confidence. We talked on Friday that I really don't think that Godwin's role is affected by the AB signing. I think it will affect Mike Evans in the long run, maybe not tonight, but in the long run. So just see if you can pick up AB and have that insurance there with that guy if you can.
Yeah, I kind of like what he mentioned, some of the free agents that he had, and Mike Williams, I think, is just starting to really come into the Mike Williams that we've seen from previous years. I think he went 5 for 99, 8 targets last week.
Especially if Keenan Allen is out as well.
Yeah, it looks like Keenan Allen's good. They did the COVID test this morning. He did not post a positive, so I think he's expected to play.
Okay.
But yeah, even so, I think Herbert, the Chargers are throwing enough. We've seen their defense continue to let them down. They pulled their best Atlanta Falcons impersonation last week. So I think Mike Williams is a guy that I would probably throw in. And if they're a later game, that's maybe something he can look at, waiting to see if Godwin's officially a go. I know they're the night game, and this Chargers game is a late afternoon, I believe, but maybe it gives him a little bit more time. But yeah, I think I'm rolling Godwin if he plays. If not, I wouldn't mind Mike Williams either.
Yeah, I like that as well. Let's see what else we got here. Man, you guys just blowing this chat up, talking to each other. We really appreciate that. If Ridley plays, would you start him, Justin Jackson, or Jonnu?
Oh, wow. Go ahead, Robby. Sorry, I was just trying to figure that out.
Yeah. I think I don't think Calvin Ridley will play, and it's kind of risky. If he goes, obviously he's produced before, but honestly, Justin Jackson is in a smash matchup in his own right. We were talking about Mike Williams going against the Raiders. Well, the Raiders are even worse against the rush. Joshua Kelly has just continued to show that he is not the guy there. Tremaine Pope was playing above him. Anthony Lynn came out and said that Joshua Kelly has been running timidly, which is not something you want to hear your head coach say about you. So I think Justin Jackson is the guy, and it's going to be Joshua Kelly as a change of pace. Tremaine Pope was doubtful last I looked, so yeah. I think this is going to be the Justin Jackson show in a really good matchup against the Raiders. Justin Jackson had 89 rush yards, 53 receiving yards last week. That's 20 touches on 20 touches. So I would probably play Justin Jackson almost regardless here.
Yeah, I love Justin Jackson this week. I talked about him in the DFS video too. I have a ton of money on Justin Jackson, so I guess that's the bias there. But what he's shown us is he's the most competent back after Eckler goes down. And, you look at Tremaine Pope last week, and yeah, that's tilting, but he's not playing this week. He's in concussion protocol. So you don't have to worry about that. And I agree with Robby. Joshua Kelly just has not been there. I will say, though, we have seen Anthony Lynn kind of screw us over before. And Justin Jackson, when I was doing my research on him, he only has one red zone opportunity on the season. Now, obviously that could change with there only being 2 backs, but Kelly has been the guy who's been utilized there, but fumble issues and maybe he's out of favor now. So I do like Justin Jackson. I think you can roll him with confidence this week. If Ridley plays, he's probably limited.
Yeah, I would go Justin Jackson even if Ridley starts, because that could be one of those things where he comes out, runs 4 routes, and then you don't see him the rest of the game, and he has 1 target. So Coop Dog's lineup is all screwed up here. What do we think about Zeke if he plays? And if he does play, would you still start Justin Jackson over Zeke here?
Absolutely. I think what makes it easy with this Cowboys offense is that they're starting Garrett Gilbert and not Andy Dalton's out for another week, and then they have the bye coming up. So there is some precedent for them to maybe hold Zeke out. But even if he plays, we're talking about the Pittsburgh Steelers. They're a tough team to get points against with running backs. And when we've seen people get points against them, it's this long breakaway play that Miles Sanders had, a few weeks ago. And so I don't think that's something that Zeke has really shown behind this offensive line that's just being absolutely slaughtered with injuries. We're talking about averaging less than 4 yards a carry with no runs over 20 yards. So yeah, I just think Justin Jackson is in a much better spot, regardless if Zeke goes or not. I wouldn't be rolling him over Justin Jackson at all.
Yeah, I also have some money on Justin Jackson as well, Ryan. I took his over 52.5 rushing yards. So Right there with you. I love Justin Jackson this week, and since we all love him, probably means he's going to bust, and we're going to look like a bunch of jackasses. So,
Man, for sure. I like that though. I like that prop.
yeah, like that one to me just seemed like, all right, like why would I not do that? Like in this matchup, I think the last time I looked, the total was 52. The spread is only 2 points, so it's expected to be close. There's not going to be a blowout. Justin Jackson has been involved in the passing game as well. So, our guy Max in the chat with us. Do I start Breeze or Carr? And Max is starting MT, so I think that's why probably wants to throw Breeze in there for the stack. But are you going to go Breeze or Carr in this instance?
Close.
Yeah, it's very close. It's awkwardly close. Because he has Michael Thomas, I'm more inclined to tell him to play Breeze, especially because I mean you're looking at that run defense for Tampa, and so even with that strong defense, I still feel like Kamara is going to be involved, but maybe it's through the air, and they get Michael Thomas going through the air. Carr's kind of popular this week, and that Chargers game is popping off. So, can he do it? Yeah, but I just feel like that's always a situation for me, especially with Breeze having the later game where like Carr could go out there and, maybe he gets like high teens, low 20s, and you can look at Breeze, kind of surpassing that by the third quarter and kind of be tilting yourself if it's a close matchup. So if you have Michael Thomas, you play Breeze on the other side.
I like Carr.
I think I do the same. I think I do the same there. They're very close for sure.
I'm glad you said Carr, Cody.
I'll do it.
He can choose to trust Robby, Ryan, or Cody. I like it.
Yeah, sorry, Max. We were of no help in this one. Do I start Jefferson over Anderson, Brown, Crowder? Because Stafford is playing.
So is that Antonio Brown, Marquise Brown? Trying to figure out who the Brown would be, but this Justin Jefferson, I feel like in this game environment should just totally annihilate this week. I have a real good feeling about Justin Jefferson. I mean, you're looking at the three-headed monster there in Cook, Thielen, and Jefferson that get pretty much all of the Vikings equities in touchdowns and fantasy points. And Justin Jefferson, he's popped off in 2 games where you've had to play him, because he's had, high 20s or maybe low 30s in that one game, and then the 40-point burger. He's just so explosive. This rookie is just amazing. I love him. So it's always hard for me to say sit him because of his explosive ability. The other guys have kind of, Robbie Anderson, tough matchup. Jamison Crowder going against New England. Sure, he could be needed, but no Sam Darnold. So that doesn't, bode any confidence for me there. And I don't know who the Brown is, but I'd still probably pick Jefferson.
It is Antonio.
Okay. Yeah, I'd still play Jefferson there.
Yeah, I'll take Jefferson's potential, 8 targets over Jamison Crowder's 17 targets, just knowing where they're coming from in Joe Flacco. Right. So, yeah, Justin Jefferson has a much higher ceiling. I will go there.
How do you guys feel about Jerry Jeudy or Marvin Jones in the flex for Cha?
These are 2 matchups I really like personally. I think you hit it at the top of the show, Cody, where the cornerbacks for the Minnesota Vikings, their cornerbacks have just been injured every single week. It seems like they got a little bit healthy a couple weeks ago, and now they're back out. And so Marvin Jones slides into that wide receiver 1 slot with Kenny Golladay out. This game has a high over-under at 51 last I checked. So I have Marvin Jones just outside top 20 wide receiver. I think he's wide receiver 21 for me. So it's a little bit higher than Jeudy, but I also like Jeudy going against Atlanta, who gives up the most points to wide receivers. Jerry Jeudy kind of had his breakout, I would say, game with 10. I think it was 10 receptions. He's starting to kind of take his. He's been slower than some of these other rookie wide receivers that have popped off early. We saw CeeDee Lamb do it. We just talked about Justin Jefferson, Chase Claypool. We've been waiting for Jeudy to do it. I think this is a game he can definitely take the bull by the horns and get going. So I like both of them. I have Marvin Jones just slightly ahead.
Yeah, I like MJJ there. No Kenny Golladay. Stafford should lean on him a lot there. Tim Patrick coming back for Denver. Judy's been explosive, man. I mean, Locke just can't hit him. And, I don't know if you guys can see the Mizzou stuff in the background, but I support Drew Locke. I mean, I've rooted for this kid, but, he's still getting his feet kind of, acclimated in the NFL and not that many games under his belt as well, too. So he'll get there, but, could be frustrating playing Judy out there. And, Marvin Jones is going to get the share. He played 98% of the snaps in that game when Kenny Golladay went out. So that's incredible. He's going to be on the field.
I lean Marvin Jones here as well. Following up on Coop's question from waivers from earlier, would you drop Amari for either of those receivers, for AB or Mike Williams? Is Amari droppable at this point?
I can't, knowing that Dalton's coming back.
Yeah.
I can't.
Yeah, you can't drop them. I mean, you've invested much in them, and if like you said, Dalton coming back, Robby, and you're the Dallas guy too. So if you're saying
we're not
telling
people that this year, we're not telling people.
Fair enough. We can cut that out on the back end, but no, you can't drop Amari. So hopefully there's somebody else that you can drop for either one of those guys. Yeah,
Amari went 7 for 80 against Washington. They only put up 3 points in that game, and Cooper was still productive in Dalton's only start. And then if I remember thinking back to when Dalton came in relief for Prescott going out.
Michael Gallup, baby.
Yeah, Michael Gallup. But I think Cooper's just has been involved when Andy Dalton has been at the helm. So Gallup when it's Danucci or potentially Garrett Gilbert here. But long term, I can't drop Amari Cooper.
Yeah.
So we're not dropping Amari, but what about JaMycal Hasty? Tan wants to know.
Oh, good. I'm glad we brought up JaMycal Hasty. This is just wonderful. Did anyone tell Kyle Shanahan that Halloween is over? We're not dressing up people as starting running backs anymore, only to fade them completely during the game. Jerick McKinnon, weeks ago, he's good. Nope, he's going to have tired legs for multiple weeks. And then we're going to dress up JaMycal Hasty as the starting running back. Nope. He will be well behind McKinnon. I am still tilting over that. I started Trent Taylor and JaMycal Hasty in a league, and that's a good 3.7 points sitting in that starting lineup right now.
Oh my God, that's brutal.
Yeah, that's tough.
Did you pick him up, Robby, off of waivers? Like, did you end up spending fab on him? I'm just curious because I know a lot of people who were pissed that they blew their fab on getting a guy like Hasty and him going out and producing like that.
Yeah, I think this was – they've had so many rotations, right? I think this was right after Mostert went out. I think it was fab, but it wasn't very high because it was very questionable, right? He was a UDFA coming off of like 9 carries or something like that. I think I spent money, but it wasn't, big money that we've seen with some of these other free agent running backs. Because there was a lot of question with if people thought it was going to be McKinnon, right? And Hasty was going to back him up. And I think that was the first trickery from Kyle Shanahan. So, yes, spent money on that. And it was good for a couple of weeks, but now it's so bad.
Man, it's crazy. Dude, it's all the NFC West coaches. Like, I just wanted to say that real quick. Like, these are all the assholes. Pete Carroll, Sean McVay, Kyle Shanahan, all of these motherfuckers on the West Coast. I don't know what's going on. You're on the West Coast and the weather's nice and, whatever, but you guys are all assholes. You can't be trusted. I'm pissed at the NFC West.
Like, is anyone shocked if Alex Collins gets a lot of run in this Seahawks-Bills game? Like, I won't be surprised at all.
Unbelievable.
Not at all. No, it just must be like that West Coast, like, carefree living. Like, let's start JaMycal. Actually, you know what? Let's not. Controversial wants to know PPR pick 1. AB, DJ, Pollard, Lindsey, John Brown.
AB, DJ. I think you can I would feel pretty confident in ruling out Pollard and Lindsey there. I think it comes down to Brown, Dallas, or Brown. I kind of like John Brown. I mean, we're looking at the Seattle secondary. You said it at the top, Cody, with Shaq Griffin being out. They will get Jamal Adams back, so maybe that does help them a little bit. But Jamal Adams was out there before when this defense was getting torched, and it wasn't really helping them. And we know Josh Allen has DGAF mode like written all over him, right? So maybe they sell out to try and stop Diggs, and that could leave Brown, open on a couple of these bombs. So I like getting John Brown in there as the highest upside of the other two guys, in Antonio Brown and DJ Dallas.
Yeah, I might lean DJ Dallas just with what that offense can do. We saw it last week in a tough matchup. He didn't have very good yardage. They were going against a tough 49ers defense there, but they still had so many red zone opportunities for DJ Dallas. He got one through the air and one on the ground just because that Seahawks offense is just always driving the ball down the field. So I kind of like his ability to have multiple scores. But you say it correctly that the Seahawks have just been a sieve to wide receivers. And I wanted to point out, because Cole Beasley is kind of my pick to have kind of a good game there. Slot wide receivers against Seattle, we're looking at Ayuk last week, 8 for 91 and a touchdown. Fitzgerald, Larry Legend, 8 for 62. Thielen, 9 for 80 and 2 touchdowns. Going all the way back to week 4 against the Cowboys, Lamb and Cedric Wilson, of all people, 10 for 172 and 2. Edelman, remember, all the way back to week 2, 8 for 179. Julian Edelman had 179 yards this season. Yeah, that was against Seattle. So Gage for 114 yards. So I just think the slot wide receiver is someone I want to definitely play. I'll probably have him ranked. I do have him ranked above John Brown, but that doesn't mean John Brown's a bad play either.
Another prop I like from this week is Cole Beasley over, I think it was like 48.5 receiving yards. That was another one that I also like. This question for me kind of comes down to, like, do you need the safety or do you want the ceiling? Like, if you just want your guaranteed touches, I think the answer is DJ. If you want to go ceiling and with the potential of either a John Brown 7 for 80 and a touchdown or 2 for 36. Like that's the range of outcomes you have with John Brown. So I think if you want the guaranteed touches and safety, it's DJ. If you want to go upside, I would roll out John Brown. Mason Higdon wants to know Lev Bell, Jordan Howard, or Tony Pollard. I'm going Lev there. I'm not fucking with the other one. Just give me Lev, and if Jordan Howard goes off, so be it. But the dude hasn't gotten any snaps the past 4 weeks because of fucking Matt Breida and Myles Gaskin. Like, that tells you all you need to know. And the only reason why Jordan Howard even has any fantasy points this year is because he fell into the end zone. That is it. All of his like game logs were like 5 for 8, 6 for 7, but he would have the fucking touchdown. Where you're like, well, he is getting like 7 points. No, he's not. He's falling into the end zone. So give me Lev Bell here. I'm not fucking with the other ones.
Yeah, it's wild you say that, because I don't even think he got to 7 points. I was actually looking up Jordan Howard because I'm in such dire straits right now. I've Mostered out. I had people on bye. And so I actually had to pick up Jordan Howard in the league. And I was like, man, can I stomach this? You actually had him inverse. He's getting more carries than yards in the first 3 weeks, where he got a touchdown every single week.
I'm giving him too much credit.
Yeah, you're giving him too much credit, honestly.
Way too much.
I'm really nervous about that Dolphins backfield. Laird plays, then they're going to mix him in, Jordan Howard. I'd probably roll Bell here and not worry about anything else. I don't think Pollard can do very much against that Steelers that rush defense, honestly.
Yeah, Bell for me.
Robby, is this going to be Savon Ahmed week for us?
Oh, man. I hope so, man. I just love that guy coming out of college, and he just doesn't get anything. But yeah, that'd be sweet if he popped off a little bit for sure.
Clamped wants to know Jared Cook or Evan Ingram for our first tight end question of the show.
Ingram.
Yeah, Ingram has been getting targeted a lot more than he was earlier in the year. I don't have the exact numbers, but he's starting to get worked in a lot more. Golden Tate didn't travel with the team, and now if you look at Jared Cook, Michael Thomas is back. I think that kind of limits his upside there just a little bit. So I'll go Ingram.
Yeah, Ingram's got 19 targets the past 2 weeks. So you definitely love that. I mean, seems to be that he's security blanket for Danny Dimes, and not connecting on the deep balls to Slayton. Washington can get pressure. We should see him kind of lean on Ingram a lot here.
Ingram's also getting a couple of those carries as well, so they're definitely trying to get him involved in the offense. Are we confident in the Giants' defense?
Rarely ever. Rarely ever.
I mean, what do you mean as confident? They are playing Washington, so you do feel good about that compared to some of the rest of these other defenses that are going out there. They do get a little bit of pressure. Kyle Allen turns the ball over, so I mean, you're hoping for them to make some plays on the other side. This game, these two teams have already played before, and it was a sloppy game. So when teams meet for the second time, it gets a little bit rough. So I think you can roll them out there, but I wouldn't expect, a big game or for them to carry your team. You're hoping for like 5, 6, 7 fantasy points out of them, and you're chilling because it's the Giants.
I like the opposing defense in this game. Washington football team, I have them actually as a top 5 defense. Every single week, that Giants offensive line has given up at least 3 sacks to opposing defenses. Danny Dimes has been giving up turnovers, fumbles, interceptions. He's averaging 2 per game. So that's points right there that you have as a floor. And if we're talking about a sloppy game that we saw, I think it was 20-19 a couple weeks ago. That's not a high point total. I think Washington football team has a good floor as a safe defense to play.
Speaking of Washington, Steelers are the Washington D from Controversial.
I'm not going that far. I'm not going that far. Steelers defense is the number 1 defense, probably facing the number 1 matchup in a 4th string quarterback. Or are we calling him 4th string, 3rd string? Yeah, like
he's 4th string. Yeah, he's 4th string for sure.
Yeah, they just skipped the 3rd string. They went from Dalton. They don't even have the 3rd string. Just went straight to the 4th string. Amari Santana wants to know Thielen or AB.
That's definitely Thielen. How are you even contemplating sitting? I get it. We need to see what Antonio Brown can do. I mean, and talk about asshole coaches. I mean, we got Arians on the other side, 10 snaps, 30 snaps, 60 snaps. It won't be 60, but okay, so maybe he'll get 50. But like, there's too many mouths to feed. I want to see it first in Tampa. And Tom Brady can throw it around to everybody. I mean, like I said, Kirk Cousins, he knows he has Cook, he has Thielen, he has Jefferson. You're rolling Thielen with confidence there.
And just in case that was A.J. Brown, I would still go Thielen. I'm sure he would have put A.J. Brown, but that's the only reason I thought it might be close and why he might be mentioning A.J. Brown.
No, that's
but
fair.
I'd still go Thielen there. They're facing your Chicago Bears, A.J. Brown, the Titans are, and they've just been very, very good against quarterbacks mainly, but also most wide receivers. So he is outside wide receiver 1 for me this week.
Our guy Dan is in a couple, or he's in a Survivor League, I should say. I don't know how many he's in, so he has some of these questions for us. But thoughts on the Jets and the Pats? Do the Jets have a prayer for beating New England this week?
No.
Not much of one, right? Like, especially if we're talking about Joe Flacco. Every time we've seen Joe Flacco out there, it just looks like we're looking at a middle school football team. Like, they are just rough. He's getting sacked for minus 21 yards. They're 10-point dogs in a low-scoring game. So I guess the low-scoring game is the only reason. You can maybe see if Cam has some turnovers. They keep it close. It's a sloppy under game. But, man, they don't have much of a chance, in my opinion.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think they have a chance, but it would just be like Flacco to win against New England from the times that he was in Baltimore and wax poetic. I mean, that should be done for Flacco. You win this game, why don't you just retire? You beat Belichick, one last time, just right off into the sunset, be done.
That's a Super Bowl.
Exactly.
Trying to look for maybe some of these ones that he hasn't, might not have played yet. And like nothing's like really jumping out to me as like as an uglier team that might win. I mean, between the Giants and Washington, I don't have a great feel on that game. And then like just trying to look for maybe some like potential like I said, like some teams he might not have played yet, like Denver over Atlanta. It could happen, but like again, like I wouldn't want to put my survivor on that one either.
Maybe Texans. I mean, they're 7-point favorites on the road, even against Jacksonville, starting a rookie 6th-round pick. I don't know if he's played the Texans. They're obviously a 1-6, 1-7 ball club, so that's a one that he might not have played. I prefer the Texans there.
Yeah, the Texans is probably a good one. You going against a rookie quarterback there, they should be able to take advantage here. I like that as well too.
We're all in agreement. Justin Jackson over DJ.
Yes.
Claypool or Marvin Jones.
I love this one. This is pretty close. I kind of like Claypool in this matchup. I was talking to some guys about DFS and that Pittsburgh game. I know, Cody, you're the Pittsburgh guy. I know it, but this kid has a role, man, and Pittsburgh does weird things, right? And so people think that this, is just going to be James Conner kind of just running the ship, and that'll be it. But I still think Ben can make some stuff happen there. I probably would lean Marvin Jones because he has the clearer path to get the points with Kenny Galladay being out, but it's close for me for sure.
Yeah, they're 2 spots apart in my rankings. I have Marvin Jones 21, Claypool 23. I think the reason we like Claypool is these alpha wide receivers have played really well against Dallas. Obviously, everyone's played really well against Dallas, but if you're asking which wide receiver do you see getting in the end zone, maybe potentially multiple times, I think I choose Claypool over the other two. I don't know, Ryan, Cody, how you guys have them ranked, but I'll still put Juju number 1 just because his volume's been so good the last 2 weeks, but now that can flip on a dime. We've seen every single week. It seems to be a different guy. But Claypool, I actually have is kind of that most likely to get a touchdown. I have him slotted as the second Pittsburgh wide receiver with Deontay coming in third. What do you guys have?
I think, like you said, the volume with Juju, I think is safer. But I think the big play touchdown lies with Claypool. So like maybe that'd be an instance in like a PPR league, I'd roll Juju, and like in a half or a standard, I might have Claypool a little bit higher. For this question, I like Marvin Jones just because I don't see I could see an instance where the Steelers just jump out to a massive lead and they don't have to toss the ball around a lot. So you're hoping that Claypool, gets 4 targets, 3 catches, 70 and a touchdown, something like that. But it would be peak fucking Steelers to go on the road, 15-point dogs, and just let the Cowboys hang in. So that would be absolute peak Steelers to do that. But I would lean Marvin Jones here just because of the matchup and the way that I see that game playing out.
Yeah, I agree. I think, you're rolling Juju with confidence probably this week, and then the other two, I feel like it's a pick 'em. I kind of do like Deontay, to be honest. So maybe that does temper the Claypool expectations, but people are saying this guy's, injury prone and everything like that. He's had a rough year, but when he's out there, this dude has, wide receiver 1 upside for real. So I think they can handle him easily. Cody, don't worry about it.
It's like I said, that would just be peak Steelers.
It would be.
To at least not to cover the spread. Right. And let Dallas hang around. What do we think about Gibson or DJ Dallas?
Give me Gibson there. I like Gibson. I do. I love this Antonio Gibson kid. I liked him coming into the season too. DJ Dallas, I just felt like Seattle was able to kind of take advantage last week in that game. I think they saw a matchup and they didn't have a team that was able to game plan for them. And The way you beat Buffalo is through the air, right? So, I mean, let Russ cook. You could be really disappointed with Dallas's output. Like you said, Cody, the fact that they're even activating a guy like Alex Collins just should not give you make you feel any comfortable about starting a guy like DJ Dallas this week. I mean, that's so gross. When's the last time Alex Collins has played fucking football? So
I literally forgot about him.
I did too. I couldn't believe it. So that definitely does. And Homer is playing too for them. So it doesn't give me any confidence rolling DJ there. I would go Gibson.
Same.
Jason Patel, Justin Jefferson, AB, or another Marvin Jones question. How are we parsing this one out? How would you rank these three? I'm assuming we're going to put AB at the bottom. Ryan, I know you like both of these guys with Jefferson and Marvin Jones. Who do you start out of this group?
I mean, it really is kind of, do you feel comfortable about Cousins getting there? Or do you feel comfortable about Stafford getting there? To be honest with you, and it's crazy because my DFS lineups probably don't say that. I'm still working through my exposures here. My DFS lineups will probably say Jefferson, just because of the high upside ability. But I really do think that it's Marvin Jones here because you have Stafford throwing on the ball. You talked about it. The secondary for Minnesota is absolutely just trashed. Mike Hughes on the IR, Cam Dantzler and Holton Hill out. So they're running a whole bunch of, 5th, 6th, 7th round picks for the past 2 years out there. And, yes, it is Matthew Stafford and he has disappointed, but I mean, you're talking about a way for him to they could need him. They could definitely need him in this game and Cook on the other side. Maybe the Vikings are able to run rampant over this Lions porous defense, no Gerard Davis. So it does, make me concerned that this could be another Cook game and, take the passing equity out of it. But if Stafford needs to throw, I definitely like Marvin Jones here.
Yeah, Ryan, I'm going to just echo what you said because when I look at my rankings, I have Justin Jefferson 3 spots ahead. But when asked this question, I really am like, well, if you want to talk about the volume of who's probably going to throw more, you're looking at the lines and the matchup, just basically repeating everything Ryan said. I'll probably end up switching that. Just Marvin Jones seems to have kind of that recipe. We just haven't seen it yet, so I feel like I trust Justin Jefferson. We've seen him pop off, right, for 2 games and the points that Ryan said earlier. I think that's why you just have a little bit more confidence on Justin Jefferson, but Marvin Jones should be really good this week.
TS needs 2 of these wide receivers in a PPR. 2 of the Bucs receivers in Godwin and AB, Deontay or Brandon Cooks.
Did you say that Robby was out?
Yeah, it was like disciplinary reasons. He was benched.
I guess that's on Houston's side anyways. I'll probably go Chris Godwin and Brandon Cooks. Now we have to monitor and make sure Chris Godwin is a go, but he's expected to play. You can always switch to AB if you need him last minute. But I really like Brandon Cooks going up against Jacksonville Jaguars. I believe he had one of his better games. I think he had over 100 yards last time they met, maybe week 5, if I remember correctly. And he's been – now Will Fuller's kind of been that boom guy. He's gotten a touchdown or over 100 yards every single week. But I think the targets have been more towards Cooks. And so I like them both. I have Will Fuller going higher, but they're both top 20 wide receivers for me this week.
So over the last 3 weeks, Cooks has seen 12, 9, and 9 targets, and back in week 5, he went 8 for 161 and 1 against the Jags.
Yep, that's what it was.
Yes, he's been amazing since Bill O'Brien's been fired. I love him. I mean, the Jacksonville secondary is just as bad as Atlanta, just as bad as Minnesota. So you can definitely fire him up with confidence this week. I like that.
Jeff wants to know Damian Harris or Devin Singletary.
Oh man, we talked about this on Friday, Cody. I'm done with Devin Singletary, man. I'm done with him. I can't rock with him anymore. I don't know. He just ain't doing it. He ain't cutting it. Zach Moss definitely has looked like the better back when they've both been healthy. Damian Harris, the one thing that the Jets do well is stop the run. But if they can, if we can say anything about New England, is they're going to just run whenever they get the chance. So I think you can feel more confident about Damian Harris there. I just can't trust Singletary anymore, man.
Jobby, what say you?
Sorry, guys. I just started looking at some of these active inactives. Calvin Ridley is out officially. We had some questions about him earlier. Yeah, this one's tough. Ryan, I don't want to repeat anything. I was looking up these active inactives, but Sony Michel coming back. I don't think he's going to do a ton, but that just worries me.
Is he actually playing?
I'm trying to find that here, but he's practiced, and they were just waiting for the activation. What we've seen so far when people are coming off the IR is that they'll practice the whole week and then they'll make the move Sunday morning. So I haven't quite seen that yet. Man, that is tough.
Yeah,
yeah, I'll probably go Damian Harris, but there's not a lot of confidence there, honestly.
What about Judy or Mike Williams for Jeff? Mike will, right?
I think Judy, man. I think I'd go Judy there, to be honest.
Yeah, both are really intriguing plays, I think, this week. So I'm not upset if you go one way or the other, but I might lean Jerry Jeudy there. Tim Patrick is a go this week, which maybe caps a little bit of his ceiling, but 10 targets last week. He only turned 4 of them into receptions, but he had a career high 76 yards. I think he's starting to evolve and starting to kind of work his way to be that alpha in that offense. So I'll go Jeudy.
We have a celebrity popping into the YouTube chat. We have Bobby Schmerda in here. Holla holla, it's Schmerda. Herbert or Brady?
I don't know how you sit Herbert at this point. He's just been on fire, man. Brady going against the Saints, it's not the end of the world. Lattimore hasn't quite played as well as we've seen him do in previous years, but the Saints is still a tougher matchup, I think, than Las Vegas. I have Herbert as a top 5 QB this week.
Yeah, Herbert.
A follow-up for Bobby S. Cooper or Fournette?
God, this is so gross. Oh, man. If it's standard, I kind of lean Fournette just because he has more chance to score, I feel like. If it's PPR, I would go Cooper. That's a tough one, though.
I would just close my eyes, cross my fingers, and just hit one of them and just be done with it that way. Just leave it up to chance. Walk up to a stranger and just say, hey, just pick one of these. Let them do it, and just put your phone down and don't look the rest of the day.
Walk up to strangers, post it in their game day live show, and hope that they answer the question.
And then have them not actually give you any information and go to your random stranger next door neighbor and have them actually pick it for you. I would just do one of these. Yeah, that would be it. Ryan, I think I lean the same way that you said. If it's PPR, I would go Cooper. If it's standard, I would go Fournette. Because you got to imagine they're going to be behind. The Steelers' corners can be had. The issue here, obviously, is the quarterback. But I think in any sort of PPR format, I would go Cooper. If it's not, I would go Fournette. Patel needs 3 of these. Another Fournette question. We need to sit one between Hollywood, Slayton, Fournette, and Mike Thomas. I would just sit Fournette. I would just roll the receivers there.
Yes, same.
Jose Gomez, Tim Patrick, Damian Harris, JT, or Marvin Hall in PPR.
Oh, boy. Marvin Hall's interesting. It feels thin, though. I really think, with Hawk there, I think it's a good game for Amendola, good game for Jones. It feels kind of point chasey. Let's go Tim Patrick there. I mean, if he's healthy, we've seen what he can do. Like I said, this Atlanta secondary, they're not scaring anybody outside of Terrell. I mean, Oliver and Sheffield have been terrible. So I think you can roll them. You definitely want to roll a receiver there, I feel like, in PPR, and Patrick would be that guy for me.
I wonder where these points are going to come from for the Colts. That's what's really interesting. Ty is going to be out. We don't really know what's going on in that running back room with Jonathan Taylor. I don't think I'm pounding the alarm as much as I saw everyone else do this past week with Jonathan Taylor. He was a running back 2 leading up to this past week, and not reached the expectations that we had from coming into the season, but had not been dreadful. Like, he had a couple of 60 and 70-yard games, and he was involved in the passing game. So, it's not a great matchup against the Ravens, but we have a 48-point over-under, and the Colts are only 2-point dogs there. So, they're going to get some points, and where does that come from? And if you're asking me which running back is most likely to score, I'm still going to say Jonathan Taylor even after last week. So I'll probably roll Jonathan Taylor there. Even though Kev says he is now what he said officially, guys, he is the Trent Richardson come again.
I couldn't believe that. I could not believe that. I mean,
could you really not believe that though? That is,
I guess, yeah, no,
Kev.
for sure. It is Pete Kev, but I mean, shame on him. Yeah, that's crazy. Don't do that to that dude right now. He's a rookie.
I'll break the tie there. I actually like Tim Patrick in that matchup as long as he's going to be active. Another TP question coming from Dodd 22. Tim Patrick or Zach Moss in a PPR?
Tim Patrick there for me.
Samesies.
Yeah.
Don't do it. Don't do it, Robby.
Well, here's the problem. Like,
oh boy,
we don't know who's going to be good for the Bills, and their run game was pretty horrendous up until last week. I mean, they both had, I think, 12 carries for over 80 yards each, and Zach Moss happened to find the end zone twice. I don't hate the Bills. The reason I hate the Bills backfield is that they're just both kind of eating each other. But if they both produce like they did last week, they're not a bad play. And if Zach Moss is more likely to find the end zone, he's still getting involved a little bit in the passing game. I just maybe I don't have the same confidence in Tim Patrick coming off an injury like you guys do. But Tim Patrick is just not a guy I'm looking to insert into the lineup. It's close. It's very close. That's why I took 10 years hesitating. But I might go Zach Moss there.
I mean, Tim Patrick was playing really well right up until he got injured. I mean, he had 6 for 113 and a touchdown, 4 for 101 against New England. So in this Atlanta matchup, there's going to be points scored. I think because Tim Patrick was questionable coming into last week, so I'm assuming they've held him out until he is healthy. So I do like Tim Patrick in this matchup, and it is #never Zach Moss. Last fish in the pond, holding it down on Twitch. We are live over there as well. In a standard league, needs 3 of these wide receivers: Robby, Thielen, Marvin, Deontay, John Brown. And again, this is a standard league. I think you're locking in Thielen.
Yeah, standard. You're locking in Thielen.
Locking in Marvin Jones.
Yeah, especially in standard. I think
feel good about that.
So out of these last 3, Robbie Anderson, Deontay Johnson, John Brown, who are you guys rolling with?
Oh man, I think I would rank them. Deontay, Robby, or Deontay, John, Robby.
Yeah. What are the Steelers going to do with their wide receivers? That's what makes it so difficult. I mean, I think the Panthers are going to have to pass to keep up with the Chiefs, and DJ Moore and Robbie Anderson have both kind of emerged as consistent targets for Teddy Bridgewater. And so it's not a great match because the Chiefs are so good in the pass defense, but I still think the volume, I just trust that volume more. Like Cody said earlier, the Steelers can get up really quickly, and then does Deontay just have 5 targets, at the end of the game? John Brown has that good match we talked about earlier, but I might go Robby John Brown and Deontay actually as my last guy there. We're gonna be no help to last for
that is how I would rank it as well. So I will be I'll be the tiebreaker. I would go Robby there, just like Robby said, for the safety, John Brown, and then Deontay. We have another Twitch question: Zeke or Swift?
Swift for me.
Yeah.
Yep. Vert coming in on Twitch. Is it smart to start Deontay when I'm going against someone starting Claypool? This is kind of like a fun theory kind of question here. How would you guys handle this for this particular one? And I guess if you have any thoughts outside of that, just in general, when it comes to, doing, having a question or a play like this, would that either stop you from starting Deontay, or would that make you lean toward Deontay in an instance like this?
I think I want to know who the other options are. It really doesn't affect me too much, especially when we're talking about a situation that's been so all over the place with the Steelers wide receivers. I'm probably not being affected by him starting Claypool. I don't think that's especially wide receivers, right? When there's 3 wide receivers in the mix, we're talking like maybe a quarterback and you're trying to block their wide receiver or something like that. Maybe I can get behind something like that, but I want to know who the other options are. I don't think I'm basing this off of him starting Claypool.
I agree there. I would probably, I'm fine with you starting Deontay, but I don't really think you need to in that instance. I mean, you guys could both be tilting your face off when Juju goes for 102. So I only like that when you factor in like the quarterback into the mix too. So like somebody has Roethlisberger. Like if you have Roethlisberger, then yeah, you start Deontay. If the other guy has Claypool, or vice versa, if he had Roethlisberger and Claypool, then yeah, you start Deontay to try and get those points. But outside of that, I really don't think like it's a must to do when somebody has the opposite receiver.
What about I agree on all that. Vert, if you're still in here, let us know who else you're looking at. What about Juju or Claypool?
Ryan, I knew we were going to get just so many Pittsburgh Steelers wide receiver questions, and it's such a good matchup. I'm not trying to tell anybody to bench any of these guys, right? Like any one of them can have a good game. Like I said at the top, I think I like Juju's target volume and what he's been getting the last couple weeks, but we've seen that can change in an instant. So maybe if you're going for that home run play that we've seen the Cowboys give up over and over and over, Claypool is a great boom option. But if maybe you're trying to go a little bit safer, maybe you got a lead on Thursday Night Football, you just want to get some points for sure, I think I'd lean Juju in that situation.
Yeah, I like Juju over Claypool there.
Another Claypool question, Claypool or Mike Williams?
You guys are the Mike Williams people. What is the interest with Mike Williams this week? I'm legit curious because I was very interested in Keenan Allen from a DFS perspective, and definitely like Hunter Henry too. So I've considered Mike Williams. I just want to hear your guys' thoughts on that because Jalen Guyton has definitely come into fruition there for them too. So I don't know what his real upside is, so to speak. I haven't seen enough of the Chargers to have a take.
Yeah, I think my interest is the guy named Justin Herbert is where my interest comes in for Mike Williams. And like Robby was saying earlier, he has been more involved. He does have the potential to just give you like the 4 target game where he goes, 1 for 22. But I think just in this atmosphere and the way that this game looks like it's going to play out, I do like Mike Williams here, especially over. There it is. There's the expert opinion.
Give me that juice, he says. Give me that juice with Mike Williams. Yeah, Ryan, we're talking about a 53-point over-under. I just think there's going to be a lot of points. Mike Williams in 2 of the last 3 weeks. Now, granted, one of the weeks was, I think, 1 for 4, but he's had over 100 yards 2 of the last 3 weeks. I think we're starting to, with that type of wide receiver, Slayton, Mike Williams, there are some boomer bust weeks, but I think this is one of those boom weeks, even though we're just coming off the back of another boom week. I just like that. That's not to say I don't like Claypool. We've been talking about him all show so far, but I'll probably lean Mike Williams there just by a hair.
Got the Claypool trifecta here. Donald Trump joining us. We have Bobby Shmurda. Now we have Donald Trump. Donald, sorry for your loss, but thank you for now that you have the extra time. We appreciate you joining us here on the TFA airwaves. Claypool, absolutely. Fuller, or DJ Dallas in the flex. I mean, for me, that's Fuller.
Yeah, Fuller for sure. Must start.
Ernest wants to know, what about A-Rob the rest of the season? I mean, he's fine. Like, it sucks that we haven't gotten the bump that we thought we were going to get from Nick Foles, but unless you're just absolutely stacked at wide receiver, you're not sitting him in any way, shape, or form. So A-Rob would be the I'd be fine just plugging him in and just leaving him in my lineup the rest of the year.
Agree.
Yep.
A Machine back with us. Nice to see you jumping in. AM 35. Since Galladay and Carson are out. The crazy thing is he can't even hear himself. They're just wilding out over here on this Kiwi banana blend.
I love it.
Slayton, Lamb, or AB?
I think I'd go Slayton, then AB, then Lamb.
Do you guys think Lamb is droppable? We talked about Cooper before. Lamb had been lighting on fire with Prescott early in the season. Do you guys think, or even Slayton, maybe Slayton's an easier drop, but I guess I like a lot of matchups of some waiver wire guys better than all three of these individuals personally. I don't trust AB yet, but a guy like Darnell Mooney, Preston Williams, I know we have Tua thrown, and I don't think there'll be a ton of volume there, but with Devontae Parker facing Patrick Peterson, I like Preston Williams a little bit this week. Zach Pascal with the Colts. I just like a couple other of these waiver wire guys a little bit more than this group of people, and I don't think Slayton's not someone that I think you need to hang on to. I think Lamb's questionable. Maybe there's another person you can drop. Russell Gage. We haven't talked about Russell Gage in weeks, right? Because he's gone quiet. But with Calvin Ridley now out, and they're facing a Denver without AJ Boye, I think Russell Gage is a top 35 wide receiver. He's a flex wide receiver for me. So he's another guy I like over all of these individuals. I don't know if you guys have thoughts on those.
No, Russell Gage is a great pickup. I feel like this week.
It's a great call.
He's had some pretty solid games when guys have missed. So I like that a lot, Robby. I like the Pascal call too. No T.Y. Hilton that's running out there. The Ravens secondary, they're dealing with Marlon Humphrey being out, a couple other guys I believe being out, whether it's injury or COVID. I can't remember how it all relates, but I know they have multiple people on the defensive starting front out. So Pascal's definitely interesting to me.
Yeah, if you're going to play one of these, I like the way that Ryan ranked them, but I do like Gage and Pascal over both of those. So, Machine, I would look to see if you can add one of those guys. Don is back in the chat. Appreciate Don joining us. Another tight end question: Jonnu or Hurst?
I like Hurst here. I can't remember what going through his game logs here, but I feel like he's had some pretty solid weeks, and we just know that we're getting a ton of Matt Ryan attempts, and in this Tennessee and Chicago game, like Robby already said it, they limit quarterbacks, they limit wide receivers, so maybe you get Juju getting some end zone Jonnu getting some end zone targets there, but it seems like they might not even need really to pass, but 20, 25 times in this matchup. And with Matt Ryan there, you can always bank for a 35, 40 pass attempts. So I just like getting Hurst there for the upside.
Hurst has had, sorry, Robby, real quick. Hurst has had at least 4 catches for 50 yards in 4 of his last 5 games.
Okay. That's good enough for me.
Yeah, the what have you done for me lately is definitely leaning Hurst, and that volume's leaning Hurst. You know, I think the one way you can attack that Bears defense a little bit is via the tight end. They've given up 50 yards or a touchdown in 6 of their 8 games. So that keeps – and they're one spot apart for me. But, yeah, I'll go Hurst, and then John is right behind him. They're both top 10 plays.
Kashif, in PPR, I can start Justin Jackson, Antonio Gibson, or Clyde. Conflicted, you know, kind of goes back to some of the theory stuff we were talking about earlier. So Kashif is starting Mahomes at quarterback. Does that make you lean Clyde anymore, or do we like Justin Jackson or Antonio Gibson over Clyde in this spot with the emergence and like that true just 50-50 split that we've, especially last week? I think they both had 6 carries and 3 targets between Clyde and Lev Bell. So do you feel comfortable starting one of these, you know, lower in terms of where they were drafted this year with Justin? I mean, Justin Jackson was a waiver guy. Antonio Gibson was a riser, but he didn't come anywhere near, obviously, the draft capital that you spent on Clyde. So how are you guys parsing this one out with the thought of Mahomes is sitting at quarterback for KM here?
I still like Clyde, man. I really do. I think that they still want to get him involved in going. You're looking at this matchup against Carolina. I mean, how great of a matchup, you know, is he going to get like this all for the rest of the season? And they're very adaptable. The Chiefs are. I was kind of talking about this with Kev. I mean, you know, last week the Jets, the one thing they do is they stop the run well. So they were like, okay, we'll just pass it, you know, all over this defense, and we won't really use our guys. And this week with Carolina, I feel like they can just control the pace of the game, just do what they want to do. We know that, you know, Carolina is kind of a slow-paced team as well, too. So I like Clyde Edwards-Helaire, man. He's getting red zone work. And actually, you know, Cody, the snaps were, I think it was 33 snaps for Bell and 50 snaps 50% of the snaps for CEH the past 2 weeks. So he is still lean favorite there. I think he definitely offers you more upside than Antonio Gibson. If you want to start Justin Jackson there, I wouldn't hate you for it, but you also could be tilting that for sure. I mean, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, this kind of reeks of a game where this guy can go for 100 and multiple scores here. And especially you have Mahomes too. So maybe in the red zone, they give him, you know, a passing opportunity there, or if not 2. We've seen that happen a time before. He just can't convert them. Hopefully this week he can convert them. I like rolling CEH this week.
Robby, how do you have these 3 ranked?
10, 11, 12. CEH
Wow.
at 10, Justin Jackson at 11, Antonio Gibson at 12. I think even though they're right next to each other, I do think Gibson's maybe a tier below just because he'll split with J.D. McKissick. McKissick has not gone away, and I don't think he will go away as much as I'd like him to. I like Ryan said, I'll probably lean CEH a little bit, but I wouldn't fault you at all for going Justin Jackson. But I do want as much Chiefs exposure as I can get in any fantasy week. So I think that's as great as that Chargers offense has been. It's still the Chiefs offense, and I'll take them any day of the week.
DK, Keenan, or Thielen for Plecky?
He can only start one of these individuals?
Seems
That's
to
crazy.
be that way.
There's no way. All these guys should be starting. Who do you have?
He's got Michael Thomas coming back or somebody. He made a trade for Michael Thomas, and I don't know. That's wild. I will say the last time I missed this show, Kev roasted me and I was unable to defend myself. I had DK outside of wide receiver 1. They were facing the Cardinals, and I was a little worried about the Patrick Peterson matchup, and DK was absolutely shut down. So I've never quite paid Kev back the words that he needs and he has coming. And so he's not here to defend himself. I'm going to say, absolutely right. And this week as well, I have DK just outside of wide receiver 1 range. I have him as wide receiver 15, just because of that matchup against Tre'Davious White. I think this will be a lock-it game. Not saying DK Metcalf can't produce. He's obviously, I think he's kind of leapt into that elite status. But he just has a slew of tough cornerback matchups coming up. And so I think that's something to monitor. We'll see actually how good DK Metcalf is, and I think he will produce in some of these games. But he's a little bit farther down. I'll go Keenan Allen, who's just been peppered by Herbert. He is a top 5 play for me, then Thielen, and then DK.
I like Keenan here. I think the most out of the 3. Then Thielen, then DK for me for sure too. I guess he has Michael Thomas. I'm seeing in the chat that's what he said, but still, I mean that's wild to have all 4 of those guys, and I would still be trying to start two of those guys with him if you can.
Good for you. That is some nice drafting and or trading on your part there. Philip back in the chat joining us. Feel like I haven't seen Philip in here. Good to see you, Philip. Gibson, Lindsey, or Judy at the flex spot here for the Yankees fan.
I do think going back to that previous question, you just brought up trading. I think that is a good opportunity to look at trading. If he's going to have Michael Thomas, DK, Keenan, and Thielen, if he has to be sitting one of these guys, you got to hope he can upgrade somewhere else at running back or maybe a tight end. Can he get a top 2 tight end there with, Kelsey would be obviously a good target or a quarterback, but that'd be just something I'd recommend is looking at moving one of those pieces. So yeah, and then moving on to Philip's question, I'll go Gibson here. He's still a top 12 play for me, going against a beatable Giants defense that he had a good game against last time they matched up. So I'll go Gibson.
I think I like Judy slightly more, but Gibson would be a close second for me, and then Lindsey by far and away the 3rd.
That's how I'd have it as well, Ryan. Judy, Gibson, and Lindsey, because for whatever fucking reason, J.D. McKissick will not go away. And I don't, unless they came out of that bye week saying that, like, all right, now we're just gonna. I haven't seen anything to this effect, but that's the only way I would put Gibson above Judy if I knew that Gibson was going to get 75% of the touches and the opportunity share. But McKissick is not going away, and most importantly, especially in a PPR league, he's the one that's eating up a lot of those targets.
Does it make you feel confident when coaches say they've been focusing on the run game and the rookie running back should be a smash play in the following week, only to disappoint with Jonathan Taylor?
Like I said, like Judy and Gibson are closer to me, but that would push Gibson just slightly ahead of him. But like Ryan, I would do that. Judy, Gibson, Lindsey. If you feel more comfortable in Gibson, I don't have those 2 far enough apart that I would say you have to start Judy, but I would have him just slightly ahead. We need 2 of these here for Mark Maloney, Juju, Chark, Hollywood, Mike Williams, and with the caveat, with a little asterisk here, need upside this week. So Mike Williams.
Yeah, I'd probably go Juju and Mike Williams there. Hollywood's tough to trust. If you're talking about a boomer bust wide receiver, he would be that. So you can make an argument for an upside guy, but for whatever his upside is, with the Ravens passing offense not looking the same as they did last year, I think maybe Juju still has that upside against the Cowboys secondary. So I see that similarly. I'd probably go Juju and Mike Williams here.
Ryan, how you feel?
Yeah, I mean, upside, that kind of screams Hollywood Brown to me. It just feels like he could get there. Lowest amount of targets that he saw was last week. He had been seeing like around 6 pretty much in every game this year. So I think they try and get right. I've seen a lot of sharp people talking about the Baltimore side of things, playing Lamar like in DFS and things of that nature. So they're seeing a lot to like from the Ravens side against this Colts team who really hasn't been tested by anybody. Yeah, I mean, Mike Williams, I guess, would be interesting to me. It's hard to say that Juju offers the upside, right? Even with the matchup there, he's been so frustrating this year from a fantasy standpoint. So I wouldn't be opposed to having some Mike Williams there. And listen, I don't want to spend too much time on it, but I do feel like Chark is going way under the radar. I know it's the Jake kid, and we had Matt Jackson on Friday, and I was trying to pry with him on this Jake Luton kid to see what we can expect. But especially with Bradley Roby being out, that is very interesting to me. And like, we know that Chark was on Minshew's ass for not getting him the ball. So I was saying, like, he could have gone to this rookie and been like, yo, I'm going to be open. Just trust me. I'm going to be open against this team. Just get me the ball. And I just love DJ Chark as a player. So I'm hoping that, he can, right the ship, I guess, even if it is with Luton. But I would probably lean Hollywood Brown and Mike Williams there. But I just wanted to say that I feel like Chark is going under the radar. And anytime you're sitting your studs, it doesn't feel good. So.
Yeah, I do like that. The thoughts on Chark there as well. But I would still want to see. I feel more comfortable with Mike Williams and Hollywood Brown as far as just upside. I think Juju gives you, like, if you want to hedge your bets here a little bit, I think Juju could give you a little bit more of that floor as well as a potential ceiling if you want to go that way. But if you're just going straight boom bust and you're just going for all of it, I would go Hollywood and Mike Williams. If you want to have a little bit of safety with the potential of the ceiling, it would be Juju instead of Hollywood. But I really don't think you can go wrong with any of those guys as far as upside, but Juju would be at the bottom of that list for me and Mike Williams at the top. David R needs one of these and a half PPR. Devontae Parker is part of this list as well. So we have Parker, Singletary, Moss, Howard, Gallman. Half PPR, need one.
Can I defer? Can I defer the pick
well, since you unmuted and talked first, you were now obligated to answer first. So it is on you, big guy.
Let him know.
Oh man, that's rough. I mentioned it earlier, but I think there's a lot of waiver wire guys I like a lot more than guys on this list. We saw Gallman get it done a little bit, but I still don't like Gallman. The Washington football team's front seven is decent enough where I don't love that matchup. Jordan Howard, tough to trust. Singletary and Moss will probably be the guys I lean to just because Devontae Parker isn't such a tough matchup there against Patrick Peterson. Man, if you're able to find a Russell Gage, and a guy we haven't talked about a lot that popped off and had, I think it was his best game of his career so far, Nicole Hardman with the Chiefs. I think some of these other waiver wire guys, Darnell Mooney, I like his matchup because the Titans just got who's the corner they just got from the Chargers, Desmond King, slot corner. I think Anthony Miller's taken out of the equation. You have Malcolm Butler trying to hold down A-Rob. I like Mooney to continue what he's been building off of. So just some of these other waiver wire guys I like a little bit more than this list. If I had to pick someone from this list, it's probably Zach Moss.
It would be Moss for me there, for sure.
Michael has Antonio Brown, A.J. Brown, Godwin, Kenny G, McLaurin, Chase Claypool, Justin Jefferson. Who do you package up, and who are you trying to trade out of this group? Or would you just leave this go?
I mean, depending on how the Tampa Bay New Orleans game shapes up, I really think that you could package something with Godwin or Antonio Brown there, and maybe try and get better at running back. I see there's a lot of receivers here, so I'm not sure. I mean, the guys that I would feel confident in holding on to are A.J. Brown and McLaurin. Probably Jefferson for me too, just because of the role he has in that offense. But I think, Galladay, I feel like you could probably move him. Claypool, you could definitely move him if he has another big game this week because it's roulette there. So yeah, I think you definitely are trying to package up to kind of get better at the running back position or tight end too.
Yeah, I think this is a slew of names. You should definitely try and package two of them, upgrade most likely at running back. Which ones? It's tough to know what your league is valuing. I'd say look at the other teams and kind of the guy that's popped off recently, right? Like Kenny G being injured, we're not sure how long. I don't think you probably get the same value that you'd like to have from Kenny G. So it's probably a guy that pops off. If Antonio Brown goes off in any of these upcoming weeks, that's a guy I'm probably moving because I trust Godwin more in that offense long term. So if you can get Antonio Brown and maybe Chase Claypool or somebody, I think that'd be the move I'd make.
I like those thoughts as well. Waledo in here feels safe asking this Jonathan Taylor question since Kev is not here. But if Zeke is, have we seen anything on Zeke yet? Do we know if he's for sure active or not?
Okay. I have not. I've been checking. They're a late afternoon game. It at least from what I saw is that they thought it was probably going to sit him out, but I think you had opened at the top saying he was expected to play. So I think it's still very questionable right now. But again, I think we mentioned it before. The Cowboys do have a Week 10 bye. I wouldn't be surprised if they hold them out. They're already 14 and a half point dogs. They're not playing for this year, obviously, when they unloaded a lot of their defensive players that they had as a 1-year contract. So I wouldn't be surprised at all if they sit Zeke.
They should hold him out. There's no reason for him to play in this game. It's crazy. So they should, but I'm trying to look here too to see if I can find it.
I mean, I know JT.
Even if he plays, I think I'm still going Jonathan Taylor. We talked about this before that Zeke's yards per carry is already bad against defenses that are not as good as the Pittsburgh Steelers run defense. So regardless of what happens here, I'm rolling Jonathan Taylor.
Yeah, I agree on that one. I know Taylor has been disappointing, but like I said before, I really don't want to mess with either of those Cowboys running backs, no matter who's active or inactive. Trey S has a question here. Need 2 out of these in full PPR: Godwin, Gordon, Swift, Fournette, or Marvin Jones. Fournette's out for me. We can throw his name out. So we're looking at I think. As long as Godwin is going to play, I mean, I think I'm locking him in here out of this list. So where are you guys going for the second name here? Or if you disagree with the Godwin take, who are you playing out of which 2 are you playing out of here?
Melvin Gordon's an interesting name that we have not brought up on the show yet. Going against Atlanta, Philip Lindsay will be active, but I like the pass catching floor that Melvin Gordon has when he's out there. So that's an interesting name, but we've been talking about Marvin Jones this whole show, and I will stick with what we've been saying, which is probably damning us all. But I do like Chris Godwin and then Marvin Jones, but I don't hate maybe a pivot to Melvin Gordon. It's just tough with Lindsey being back. Lindsey has shown that he's just been a better runner, honestly, the last few weeks. And so that's a little tough to trust Melvin Gordon, but I do like the matchup.
I will go Godwin and Jones there as well. My thoughts on the Maryland prodigy is that Penn State needs to fire everybody. So that's my thoughts on Tua's brother. So that's all you're getting out of me on that one. Earthly Links back in the chat. Earthly always rocking with us. We appreciate it. PPR, Tim Patrick or John Brown?
Tim Patrick or John Brown? Oh, PPR. I feel good. I feel good with Patrick there.
I'm just so much lower on Tim Patrick, and I'll probably be wrong on it, but I'll go John Brown. And honestly, Ryan, it's you who kind of talked me up on him. We mentioned John Brown at the top of the show. Cole Beasley is the guy I like there, but the Seattle secondary is just so juicy. I want every part of it I can. So when John Brown is healthy, he's been very good, especially early in the year. So I don't hate going Tim Patrick, but I'll go John Brown. Yeah,
I love Tim Patrick as well, but I think I think I'm going to go John Brown here, just by a smidge. We need to sit one of these for Big Truz, Justin Jefferson, DJ Chark, Corey Davis. I think I would sit Davis out of that group.
Yeah, I would say Davis too. I would say Davis too. Tough matchup for the receivers there.
Michael Hoffman, Gus Bus, or Melvin Gordon, or could do Mooney over them. So Gus Edwards, Melvin Gordon, or Darnell Mooney, someone that you just brought up not too long ago, Robby.
As well as the Gus Bus has been running, I mean, talk about a north-south runner who just absolutely gets in the hole. And what is he averaging? I don't know if you guys have that off the top, but he's close to 5 yards. He might be over 5 yards a carry, but he's just been really, really good. Whenever he's gotten double-digit carries, I think he's always had 75 yards or more. So he's just really produced, and that's you don't love the name. The name just kind of makes you cringe a little bit. I do think he's the 1B to Dobbins in that backfield, whereas Melvin Gordon, probably with Lindsey coming off, is the 1A. I do have Melvin Gordon ranked higher. I'll probably go Melvin Gordon, but I really want to root for Gus continuing what he's been doing because, he's just someone who's, it's Gus Edwards. It's Gus Edwards, probably never really starting him, but he's just continued to show when he gets the volume he produces.
Gus is at 4.8 on the season. Ryan, how do you feel about this? Mooney, Edwards, or Gordon?
I think I like the Mooney kid. I like him a lot. Malcolm Butler, he hasn't been the Malcolm Butler that we know, but he should, follow it. Allen Robinson a little bit there. I would be interested to see like what the Desmond King situation there is for Tennessee because he got traded this week out from the Chargers to them, but I don't know if he was going to start. So
he's active. He's a go.
He's active.
Yep.
Okay, so yeah,
Yep.
I mean that's tough on the slot there too. So like you're looking at the other side there, and it is encouraging that Foles, was able to connect with him last week for the touchdown. He's definitely bailed out Foles time and time again. So I think they're kind of building their own little rapport going on there. I really like Mooney there.
I would go Mooney for the ceiling and Gordon for the floor. Thielen or Fuller? Here's an interesting one.
Wow, that's a good one. I mean, I'm so on Jefferson, I guess, that I'm leaning to say Fuller. Deshaun and Fuller, man. I mean, go back to the easy cop out play as he scores 100 yards or gets a touchdown. And that's what he did. That's what he did last time against this team, gets that touchdown late. So I like Fuller there.
Any way that Rye could start both of them. I have them both as wide receiver ones, top 12 plays. Would really like to start them both, honestly. I have Thielen a little bit higher, but yeah, there are no arguments here. You can go either one there.
Yeah, I'll break the tie on Robbie's hedge, and I'll say Fuller. We got Thunder, FF, whatever that X stands for. Kyler Murray or Josh Allen.
Man, I don't know how you sit Kyler Murray right now. I don't think he's gotten under 22 fantasy points in 4-point per passing touchdown leagues. So it's very tough. And on the flip side, Josh Allen has been, I think he's coming off his worst game. Maybe I think he had 12 fantasy points in his last start. But
if this isn't a bounce back, get right spot, I don't know what is against.
Right. Yeah, no, obviously the matchup is great for him, but I don't know how you sit Kyler Murray. It has just been wheels up for him since week one.
Ryan, who you got here between Murray or Allen?
Yeah, I like Kyler, man. I like Kyler the kid. You got the rushing upside there. So does Josh Allen too. But it'll be that game is interesting to me because this is Josh, like you said, Josh Allen's redemption week. I mean, you have to put something together here. You had the soft matchups at the beginning of the year. You look great, and now they've kind of been on a slide. And I just feel like the thing that you want to see from Josh Allen is that he can come out firing from the beginning, put up points early. If they have to, if Seattle's cooking on them and it's, they're going up by 2 scores or 3 scores, what have you, that's where I kind of get worried about Josh Allen kind of getting them out of the hole. So, Kyler, he's going against this Miami team. I mean, people want to be scared about that because of the Rams last week, but it was one of those things. The Rams played Monday night, then they had to travel on the East Coast. They don't do well when they travel. They were able to take advantage, but Kyler here going against Tua on the other side, I think he could get a little hype for this game and try and show out. So.
Yeah, I'll just follow up with that. I do think the Dolphins are a tougher matchup. I mean, they finally got healthy at cornerback with Byron Jones and Xavier Howard. So I do think they're a tougher matchup. But if you're talking about a floor with Kyler Murray, we're still talking, 18 to 20 points. Like, he's just been electric. So hopefully I didn't just jinx him there. I just think he's a much safer play. And if you're talking about ceiling for both these guys, it's pretty comparable. So it's too tough for me to sit Kyler there.
All right, we have about 5 minutes here before we wrap up, so let's go rapid fire through these. Robbie, I'm going to throw this first one to you. Adam Thielen or A-Rob?
I'll go Adam Thielen.
Ryan, who you got between Matt Ryan or Matt Stafford?
Give me Matt Ryan there.
Hawk or Jonnu, Robbie?
Yeah, I like Hawk with Galladay out.
I will take the easy one. I'm going to say DJ Moore. Pick 3 to full PPR, so we need to sit one of these. Ryan, I'll throw this one to you. Zeke, Gibson, Clyde, McLaurin.
You're sitting Zeke there. Go with the rest of those guys.
Jobby, this is for Karn. Pick 2 for upside. I love when you guys add these little asterisks in here and give us some context. Upside, Zach Moss, DJ Dallas, or DK Dobbins.
Yeah, I like Dobbins there, and then DJ Dallas.
DJ Moore or David Montgomery. I will throw that one to the Bears homer. Who you got?
Oh man, do it to me. DJ Moore here. I like DJ Moore.
Sleepy refresh coming to you, Robbie. Flex full PPR, AG or Clyde?
Clyde.
I'm going to come back to you since Russell Gage you've been talking about, Robbie. Gage or Justin Jefferson, full PPR for ZD Chance on Twitch.
Yeah, I do like Russell Gage this week, but I can't start him over Justin Jefferson, so that will be JJ.
Ryan, coming to you for this one, John Brown or Manny in a PPR?
Give me Manny there in a PPR.
Oh.
Sanders is back in.
Yeah. Yep. He was practicing. He'll be back this week. Juice World for you, Robbie. Need to sit one of these. Clyde, Gurley, or Justin Jackson.
Man, Gurley has just not looked right. He's been saved by the touchdowns. I will go CEH and Justin Jackson.
First one I'm going to throw both of these at you, Ryan. Rel wants to know Teddy B and DJ Moore. Oh, never mind. This is the same question, but we're asking for a pairing here. Would you rather stack Teddy and DJ or Drew Lock and Judy?
I think I'd rather stack Drew Lock and Judy, to be honest. Yeah.
I agree with that one. Coming for you is Max, Robbie, Gibson, or Moss?
Antonio Gibson.
Harris or Dobbins? I'll go Dobbins there.
Yeah.
Juice World has another one, needs 2 of these. Robbie, throwing this one to you. Marvin Jones, Devontae Parker, or Robbie Anderson. Who are you sitting?
Locking in Marvin Jones, and then I'll go Robbie Anderson as well.
Patrick, thank you for the question. Looks like Damian Harris should be playing. Ridley is inactive. Dannon wants to know, this is the last question. We'll get out of here on this. Ryan, throw this one to you. AB or Damian Harris?
Let's go AB there.
I lied. Last one. Nate Zucker, Robbie, this one's for you. Tom Brady, Justin Herbert, or Josh Allen in a standard 4-point per touchdown league?
Man, these Chargers better not let me down. I've been hyping them up all over the place. Give me Justin Herbert.
Woo! All right, guys, thank you so much for joining us. If you're joining us for the first time, please be sure to hit that subscribe button. We will be going live again tonight to talk early looks at waivers. So we will see you tonight. Hope you guys have a great week 9. Talk to you soon.